What's going on, gamers? Least attractive the show YouTuber, 5 years running in the building. Today we had an absolute bukkake. New cards coming into the game. Of course, a lot of new content coming with Finest, and today we're gonna go over all the best cards. Now there's 50 plus new Finest, frankly more Finest cards than I'm sure God even intended on there being, no doubt. But regardless, we're gonna go through all the stage 4 Team Affinity, all the ones there, and say which ones are actually valuable, the ones that you should actually be going after. So before we dive shaft deep into that one, make sure as always leave a like down below, definitely appreciated. But would be even more appreciated is of course that subscription. That's really what I'm slobbering for and hoping for at night. So 30 different Team Affinities. I'll be honest, I think 16 of them, so which is about the number that we've been getting about every time that we've done this, is about half of them I think are definitely worth going after. And this is what I say, a guy like Xander Bogarts, not a bad card, no doubt. But again, is it really worth you going after? Because you got that Jose Ramirez, you got the Fernando Tatis Jr. likely from the POTM program, so you guys probably have those cards. Does this card really fit a niche? I guess against lefties, but there's other cards that we're going to talk about for that. So, you know, these cards, none of them are bad necessarily. Some of them are sure really test me saying that, but all of them are usable, at least in somewhat of a sense. But let's come in and start with the first one that I think is a must for you guys to do, and a lot of the relievers you're gonna notice that trend. The Prince of Postseason Performance, Nick Anderson, of course, the most trustworthy man Cash or Stubbs could find, except in these late fall months. Four-seam, sinker, curveball, slider, of course, great combo. Would you love to see a changeup? You betcha. But again, this is not a fan-made card, so yeah, it's realistic to what he throws. Not like realism is really a sense of what you're gonna see in the Finest cards. Regardless, maxed out splits against hits and K per 9, 96 BB9, 86 overall control. Not a great differential on the four-seam to the sinker. There is no outlier quirk here, of course, but this is going to be important to note. I'm going to talk about it right now, but know that I mean it for the rest of the video. All these Finest cards have an overabundance of quirks on them that actually affect gameplay. Road Warrior and Night Player in particular for Nick Anderson are the ones that do affect gameplay. We'll look at a hitter once we get to one, but Nick Anderson is great. And another thing you're going to notice, the relievers are ridiculously super fucking easy to prestige. I think Giovanni Gallegos, which spoilers going to be on this video, you need 8 innings pitched in 21 some, I don't know, it's 21 strikeouts. That's the big stat. That's the daunting task ahead of you in order to prestige that bad boy. So moving on to the Atlanta Braves, very controversial one. A lot of people unhappy about it. I still think it's one that you definitely should go after, because if nothing else, this is a great bench bat, about as good as you can get with the kind of swing you're going to have. A defensive replacement or a platoon against right-handers. He's not an everyday starter. He could be. He's not unusable against lefties. You're just putting yourself at a disadvantage, which is not necessarily something that I would like to do, considering I am at a disadvantage by playing the fucking game alone. I already have a handicap against me just by hitting start. God damn it. Anyway, 125, 117 splits against righties, fantastic. 103 vision, diamond defense, 44 speed. Definitely think this is one that you guys are gonna want to go after. Right there for the Atlanta Braves. Jacob deGrom is the first starting pitcher that we're going to talk about right here. And yeah, deGrom cards typically slept on, not typically used all that much, but this one I think is going to be different. Why? Because he has outlier quirk, which is going to make him a lot better. The two-seam is going to go at about 97 miles an hour, which is 5 miles an hour less than the four-seam on outlier at 102, which is nice to see. The slider, some people thought maybe we could get an outlier on a breaking ball. Would be interesting. I would love to see him do it next year because it's kind of deserved. He throws supremely hot on that pitch. 110 hit 9, 125 maxed out K9, 86 BB9. No sinker. I don't think you really need it. The most basic pitch mix you can have, but not a bad thing. I really like DeGrom a lot, and I think it's going to be one of the best starting pitchers that we got today, and one of the best starting pitchers that you can probably use. Here, of course, we have Juan Soto. This is the best offensive card by far, by a mile and a half. But I don't necessarily think he's the best outfielder. I'd still take a guy like Trout over him, but I think Juan Soto's probably a top 3 outfielder. I think this is somebody you can put ahead of a guy like Mickey Mantle even, despite his low speed. You just have to have Trout or somebody with 90+ speed in center field to help out, because otherwise Soto's going to get exposed like you're in a cameo on a Chris Hansen TV show. But great, of course, maxed out everything except 119 power and 100 vision. You prestige him, he gets nearly maxed out everything. Looks a lot like the immortal Babe Ruth that we've had in the past before. 75 fielding, 71 arm. Have to play him at left field. Don't even think about putting him anywhere else. You shouldn't really have to. He's already going to have that spot. Even prestiging him, you know, it's putting makeup lipstick on a pig. It's not going to help out much, but I don't know, a couple boost might help you get to a ball every now and then. Juan Soto is definitely one of the best ones you're going to want to get. I talked about shortstop with Xander Bogarts. This is, you know, somebody who I'd recommend more. Shortstop with a lot better splits against lefties. You know, if you're talking about platooning a shortstop here with a guy like Tatis, you're going to want to get Tim Anderson instead of Xander Bogarts, who also has better defense. I don't know how. Lord help me. Wow, did they ever boost some of these cards and make it unrealistic? Sure, am I opposed to it? Not necessarily. Because you end up with great cards like Jacob Stallings, who no doubt is going to be on this list. Just you wait. 84 speed as well. Great swing. Always like to use it. And he still has 109 contact against righties with 84 speed. So Tim Anderson, again, is a card that I think is definitely going to be on your radar. Justin Bieber, of course, does not have a sinker, but he does have a 4-seam, cutter, knuckle, curveball, slider, and a changeup. Great combination of pitches. 125 K9, 120 hit 9, 112 stamina with 83 overall BB9. Not going to blow you away on velocity, only 95, 96 he's going to top out at, but discernible difference. 4 miles an hour on that cutter is good. And he has 10 difference on the 4-seam to changeup. I like it a lot. I think the Biebs is going to be rolling, and it's another starting pitcher that you definitely should be picking up. The best catcher out of the mix, in my opinion, is going to be Salvador Perez right here, and you should be salivating over this one because it is really good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it. I'm not going to mention Realmuto. Of course, we're going to mention Stallings, of course. But Salvador Perez, maxed contact right, maxed power left, 112 power right, 88 contact left. So it's inverse splits, but you really get the best of both worlds here. You have really good contact and power against righties, lower contact against lefties, but maxed power with 85 vision, 32 speed on the low end, of course, and only a decent defender at catcher. The only stat that really matters is blocking and arm strength as far as I'm concerned, which is, you know, average for what it might be at that position at this stage. But Salvador Perez, definitely somebody that I would recommend. Nelson Cruz, of course, you know, we've talked about them just bloating overalls and bloating attributes. This is the pinnacle of what you're going to find here. 67 fielding, 32 speed, gold defense, wouldn't you know it, of course. 125 against lefties, 92, 118 against right-handers, 76 vision, great swing. Even against righties, he has lower contact, but you're still gonna mash with him. I'll be honest, I don't really know if I could get around playing this card, but he's a bench bat. I really just don't think you should test it. And I know we've made jokes about guys with 32 speed having Lizzo in the outfield, but I am serious. I do not recommend that. Maybe that's why she didn't make the league. Moving on to you, Darvish. Of course, this is another one that I highly recommend. They did a bang-up job on most of the pitches here. Cutter, slider, 4-seam, 12-6, sinker. Great combination. The sinker and 4-seam are pretty close in velocity, which, again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but with the cutter is a bit different. 4 miles an hour differential from the four seam. Not gonna have a changeup, but I think you can make do. The 12.6 is not super sonically slow like he throws on his Rangers card, but he also has plus 99 BB9 from that card as well. So beggars can't be choosers. Take what you get. This is a great card all the way around, well-rounded, pretty much 99 on every per 9 with 87 overall control. Good ship, back-to-back great starting pitcher for the Cubs in their team Affinity, and back-to-back great starting pitchers that we're going to see here. Here we got Trevor Bauer, who I think is probably the best out of the bunch, at least for pitchers, maybe not overall players, but four-seam, cutter, sinker, slider, knuckle, curveball. So again, it looks, you know, a lot like Darvish that we just saw right there. But this card, 124 hit 9, 117 K9, 90 BB9, 82 overall control with 115 stamina. It doesn't get much better than this, you know. It looks a lot like what you might have saw with that Casey Mize card that was going for 900,000 stubs, and it is free, more or less, in Team Affinity. Great card. This is a must-have, and this is a top 5 starter, no doubt, on the season. Moving on to the Brewers, the NL Central just killing it, of course. I don't know how. They sure didn't kill it in the playoffs, but best believe. And Team Affinity 4, they are doing a bang-up job. Devin Williams, and this is confirmed now. The screwball was a mistake on the Prestige card. It is supposed to be on there. It's fixed. If you guys were having that issue, I commented on that video prior. Max hit, max K, 76 BB9, 81 overall control, and like I said, screwball, which is kind of a lot like a changeup. So I don't know how viable, how much you're really going to need that pitch, but you have what you need. Four seam, cutter, sinker, changeup. Screwball has a bit more break, a bit more like a curveball light, if you would. Great card. I love it. Devin Williams is going to be a must-have again. And the relievers are not hard to prestige. Like I mentioned with Gallegos here, they're pretty damn easy to do. A slider, changeup, four-seam, sinker. Great stuff. He's going to have maxed hit and K when you prestige him. Basically has it right now. 91 BB9 with 89 overall control with this pitch mix. Disgusting. Don't want to spend too much time on these cards at this point, but we only have 2 more to go, and this one's going to be Liam Hendriks, the Australian Nightmare. Lord, you former Twin, of course. Liam Hendriks, 125 hit 9, 125 K9, 109 BB9, 85 overall control. They're saying some bullshit that he has the highest per 9s out of anyone before even prestiging him. So he's one of the best, if not the best, reliever in the game. Perhaps he does have 5 pitches. He has the same, I think this is just like DeGrom's pitch mix. The 4-seam, 97. The 2-seam, 93. You have a difference there. The changeup at 88. The curveball, pretty fast at 84. But I have always liked Liam Hendriks cards. There's not been a Liam Hendriks card that I've not just slobbered all over. So I think this one's going to be very similar. Here for the Diamondbacks, we're going to have Zach Gallen, who again, just a great card and a great player. You know, I think the Diamondbacks truly got one here. Perhaps another theft from the Marlins. 4-seam, cutter, changeup, knuckle, curveball, sinker. So again, you're seeing this pitch mix on about every starting pitcher, which is annoying, I guess, but it makes them good. So I'll take it. 94, 95 of the 4-seam. Great differential on the cutter. That's going to be 5 miles an hour. And the reason you want that, looks similar out of the hand. You get that break, and it's coming in a lot slower than you might predict. 108 stamina, kind of low. 108 hit 9, 105 K9. 78 BB9 is, I think, the lowest that we've seen so far. That's not that bad if you think about a guy like Walter Johnson or Nolan Ryan. And then he has 85 overall control. So Zach Gallen's gonna do a pretty damn good for you. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. Mookie Betts, I would have preferred, I think, if you would have got a card from his MVP Red Sox season. This is a 98. They're from the show 18. And even this, I think the blueprint's a lot better. The arm strength is low, but this is at a weird time, which for some reason they were acting like he didn't have an absolute cannon. It took until the next year until they finally put his deserved respect on that attribute. He has pretty much maxed out stuff against righties, 92, 81 against lefties. Way bloated. I wish they would give the same love, keep the same energy for a guy like Freeman, but they did not. 72 speed, 103 vision. Not going to be a starter in your outfield, maybe a platoon guy, but still cool nonetheless. And in my opinion, the best, finest card of all is going to be Manny Machado. And also what I think is the best team affinity all year long. Tony Gwynn, they had the Taylor Trammell, and then they had the first Tatis. Padres just been coming in hard each and every stage. 109, 116 contact, 111, 120 power against lefties, 105 vision, 96 fielding, maxed out arm, 46 speed. Doesn't get much better than this. He's going to have diamond at first and shortstop too. However, I'd recommend staying between first and third just because speed's kind of low to have a shortstop. Ridiculously good, unfairly good in my opinion. So that's going to be Machado. Then finally, I do quickly want to touch on, is the collection going to be worth it, yes or no? And I'll be honest, probably not for most people, but if you have nothing else to spend stubs on, why not do it? So this is why I think it's not worth it. You do get a good reliever here in Pat Neshek, who I think definitely serves a niche, but then you look at a guy like Severino. I'm not going to be using this card. You look at a guy like Ketel Marte. Now we're getting interesting. This card's kind of cool. Nolan Arenado is basically Manny Machado, not as good. And then Frankie Lindor. I think he could be worth it, but not for the overall stub count that you would be putting in. If you have nothing else to go for, if you have, you know, like 1.7 million stubs, a lot to blow, and nothing else that you have your eye on, why not do it? There's no point not to, but just looking fiscally, is it necessarily worth it for 30 cards? It could be, being that a lot of the guys in the pack, such as you'll see, even the Dinelson Lamet is going for 10,000 by now, so, or sell now, whatever. So I think those could be worth it, but you don't have to do it. You're not getting a huge value, but if you have nothing else to spend it, I'm probably going to do it. Fuck it. So that's what I think. Those are 16 finest cards that I think are definitely going to be worth it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know which ones you guys have your eyes on so far. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of grinding. Hopefully going to get some gameplay out tomorrow. So if you guys enjoy this one, leave a fat like on it, subscribe. Thank you all.